I was concluding with that was we like to encourage people to build good social norms, become aware of, oh, I see ads appear too, son of a, I did not anticipate that. Well, they'll catch back up to us at some point. Try and ask, try and gain consent, even when looking for small things, because of course, as we always like to say, things that might be very comfortable to you could be disorienting or even nauseating to other users. You might be fine if like a hand goes into your face when someone's trying to boop your nose. Other people might find that a very disorienting experience. Please don't assume, please ask. Even above and beyond the guidelines, we like to build a good, healthy community.
Definitely. You know, I had recently brought up this kind of conversation recently because, like, I kind of feel that virtual reality is sort of opening up a new frontier of, how can I put it, human-to-human interaction. And there is a slew of new interactions that people are engaging in virtual reality that they would never do on the street, right? Let's say, for instance, going up to someone and booping them right on the nose. That's very new. That is almost completely unprecedented behavior in regular human society. And just keep that in mind, that there's going to be people who are going to react very negatively to being poked on the nose, whether it's on virtual reality or in person. So yeah, always get consent beforehand. Sometimes some of this stuff is very insanely new. It might not be new to us, but it might be new to some person who just recently bought a VR headset and maybe hasn't interacted too much with people on the internet. And we don't necessarily want to scare those people off.
We get one chance to rebuild society in a magical online space. Let's do a good job of it. Or at least one chance to be the first time we do that. I suppose we could get virtual apocalypses, but hopefully not. Grant UK asks, I have a question.
Computer, ham, hot.
I'm going to say bone and spiral with a maple mustard and brown sugar glaze.
That sounds delicious. Oh my god. Yeah, no, I just want to go to the store and get a spiral ham.
Thanks,
Grant.
Few Americans are approaching that time. We just passed Canadian Thanksgiving, tragically misplaced in the timeline, but Americans should be approaching it shortly, yes?
I mean, is there a required time of the year for ham, spiraled ham?
No, that's true. You can have spiraled ham anytime. They are fairly large to have just for lunch, though, given they weigh not a relevant proportion of one's own mass. That's just...
I mean, a 15-pound ham, that's not too bad, right? Most of it's bone. Some of it's bone. Maybe like a pound of it's bone. Maybe less than that. I don't know.
Brand UK comes in with the most important of all questions. Noppet?
I'm gonna say yeah, today, definitely.
That seems accurate. Oh.
Yeah.
Almond.
I always read it as Al-Nim-Nim. Don't forget to upload the VOD. Yes, there was a problem with the last VOD. I couldn't make it work right. It just was all choppy. I don't know, something about my upload was terrible to Twitch.
Nuki comes back with a very relevant typonics. And I'm going to say no.
Probably not. If today is Noppet, then typonics, probably not.
Yeah, just tracks.
A Toon Raccoon, a raid, collie. Yes, I'm a border collie.
I see. Okay, I have to continue to chew through these questions. We have to try and get them today. Oh, yes, no, this one is quite relevant. I wanted to hit this one on stream. Nuki asks, is there a way for groups to reach out to you when vetting people? I understand the wants behind this. They clarify with, like, if we were trying to put someone in a high-trust position, but we don't want to do that if the Resonite moderation team thinks there's a serious problem with them, what should group leaders do? I'm going to give a probably disappointing answer here, but for very important reasons. The moderation team is very unlikely to assist in vetting in any regard other than just pointing to people that have done good things inside of our volunteer team, such as the mentor to our moderation teams. We're not going to tell you the bad things. For a salient reason of the moderation team is very, very concerned with privacy. We don't ever hand out information concerning tickets. We don't tell people about reports that have come in. We don't tell people about the evidence that we've gathered. We're not going to be doing any of those things, freely handing it out, because we don't want to encourage harassment inside of the community. We don't want to contribute to those long call-out lists filled with receipts that do contribute to harassment. We don't want to build on any of those things. So while we can happily talk about the good people, we're not going to be able to tell you about problems. And the good people you can find just by looking at our programs. The mentors that do tons of great work in the community are very salient out there. The mentor leads that are doing wonderful work in organizing things are identified as such as part of the program. The mods are all labeled. If you come to us, if you ask me via any other mod people that are good in the community, we'll undeniably have a bunch of names, but we can't be this vetting process to identify potential bad actors due to that privacy concern. That's just very important in order to be, for anyone to trust moderation and how we handle the information you give us.
Exactly. And something to consider there, we don't know that you're starting up some, like high trust position for someone. You could be lying to us. And so, that's one of the big reasons why we wouldn't be able to just divulge any of that information beyond, of course, people's privacy. But yeah, that would just open up another avenue for people to be able to grab information they shouldn't have. So unfortunately not. Also, Gran says, have you said the PSA about rating Rezo streamers? Okay, I'm sorry. I initially read that as, have you seen the PSA about rating Rezo streamers? I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, are we getting rated? What do you mean? Yeah, so if you are a streamer and you want to stream Resonite, we want to raid you at the end of our stream. And so if you at all are planning on streaming Resonite and you'd like to do that today, go ahead and get your stream started, because soon we're going to be switching over to rating whichever individual we either are the least we have the least recognition with, who have the least amount of viewers, etc. We always like to boost the underdog.
Okay, so Grand UK is a pretty long one here that we gets into the broader adult content guidelines in a little way. Grand UK asks, context of the question in case you didn't know, the statuification system turns a player who installs it into a statue and keeps them within the statue. It must be installed beforehand, it can't just be used on another user. In moderation size, is this statuification system a not safe for work or safe for work system in and of itself? So when you say in and of itself, we get to handily go, haha, no, it's not going to be a significant problem, but this comes with caveats. So I'm just going to talk about the topic in a broader sense as it relates to the adult content guidelines. Generally speaking, there is a large number of things out there that could be sexual in some contexts and is not sexual in all contexts. Moderation's interest in the adult guidelines is if you're engaged in sexualized activities, be it relating to this or that weird kink or something that people are all going to more conventionally identify, we still treat it the same. If you're engaged in sexualized activities, that's when we've drawn our line. We want you to not be doing that. However, there's that myriad activities that are not going to be sexualized in all contexts do not all get banned. The baby is not chucked out with the bathwater just because it's in some capacity associated with this or that esoteric kink. So in and of itself, no, it's not an issue. Obviously, if someone was using it in a sexualized manner, yeah, that immediately becomes the problem, be it this statuification system or any other system that could fit under that broader framework.
And another short, example to the, answer here. No, we're not banning you from being able to walk around barefoot on this platform.
Yeah, it's a good example because it highlights just how we're going to run into situations where people will simply not at all care or think about it in a sexualized context. And if Quentin Tarantino joins the platform and he's walking around barefoot, maybe I have a conversation with him. But for many other people... Allegedly. You could just slap the word allegedly in there and thus not get sued.
Wait, was it Tarantino? Wasn't it the other guy?
It certainly is Tarantino. There might also be other people. But that's what we mean when we get up. We understand that there's going to be different scenarios, often involving the same stuff, that'll be handled differently. So I understand that makes it at least a little bit blurrier on the user side, but we're attempting to compromise here in a way that makes sense for everyone. So, follow-up questions, always appreciated. I know that one's a bit weird. People occasionally want further clarifications. Feel free to chuck them in. Dusty says, me when I spend 5 years building a large community for the sole reason of getting dirt on my interpersonal drama. What?
Oh, I think that's in response to the thing we were talking about earlier, about like vetting people. Can we vet people?
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
5 years. Those are like I don't know, noob numbers right there. Like, I've seen some salt. I have seen some salt evolve over a decade. Yes.
In a serious response to that, there's nothing that keeps a 5-year-old community from having breakdowns among interpersonal relations for people inside of it and making bad faith uses of that veterancy. So we can't lean on that for handing out private information in the ticket system. We're going to keep to that privacy policy we have in place.
Oh, we got
also,
rated by Archie Robbie. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, welcome to the moderation office hours. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you have any questions, feel free to chuck them in our direction. We're at least going to be here for a little bit longer.
Ooh.
Hello, Archie.
Oh, you know what? Grand also has another question here. Where does the line get drawn with session moderation encroaching on platform moderation and guidelines, especially when it comes to who perceives a certain thing as NSFW or SFW? Okay, so I think there's like a few things to unpack here. Essentially, if a guideline is broken, like on the Resonite platform, we want to know about it. So please just send us a ticket, even if it's something that just happened within your session. It would genuinely be helpful for us, even if you handled the situation, to maybe even send us, some information, on what happened. You could even tell us that you handled it. Let's say you handled it with like, you blocked the person, you banned them from your world or something like that. At the very least, it might be helpful for us to have it on file that something had occurred. It just helps us in the future in case we get other, similar tickets. Now, when it comes to whether someone perceives something as adult content or not adult content, it doesn't necessarily come down to the individual's perception. It comes down to how, what our evidence shows. Do we have evidence that the person was engaging in, some sort of sexual interaction, whether it's like video or audio recordings of them engaging. I'm not going to get too in detail there, but then at that point we have something to work with.
Yes.
But going back to like the walking around barefoot discussion, right? There's plenty of people who think that that's obscene, and it just doesn't break our guidelines because it's, honestly, a very individual perception thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really the only way we can honestly approach this. See the two possibilities raised here, but the perception of other people around, perhaps the perception of the person doing it. We can't see into the head of the person doing it. That's considered very illegal. You have to use large hammers and picks, and it's just frowned upon in general. And of course, we can't use the perception of other people just reporting because, again, we could have an individual that might even report that in bad faith, and I can't get inside of their skull. It's always going to be moderation making the call as best we can based on the available evidence submitted, whatever it happens to be.
Exactly. I think that kind of may have answered Razzle Dazzle's question there too,
Yes.
if I'm understanding correctly. It's context
This is all
sensitive.
awkwardly
Yes.
blurred together, but yes, it's just not necessarily the comfort of the people around you. We will be making the call based on everything you give us.
And just to follow up with it as well, so with what's getting Vera said here too about, even if you handle the situation on your own, definitely feel free to go ahead and make a moderation ticket just so we're aware of things. It doesn't necessarily mean just because you write a ticket that, that person's gonna get banned or something like that. It's just that we can see what's going on, we can be aware of it, and we can also use it for helping to train other moderators to be able to have that data to look at, see enough, have enough experience to really be able to have a good judgment call on how things should be going. It helps everybody out.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And I would like to stress here, because we occasionally forget this tidbit at the end, you have session moderation tools. While this is how the guidelines are going to function, how moderation will work inside of it, you were more than welcome to say, this particular type of action I don't like seeing. Maybe because you think all of it's sexualized, maybe because you can't tell whether that action is sexualized or not, and so you just generally don't want that to be happening inside of your sessions. You're allowed to do that. You can always establish session guidelines above and beyond the guidelines that exist for Resonite as a whole, and then enforce them through kicking and banning people who don't follow them. If people continue to come back into your session and do those things, God forbid they show up on a different account, you're welcome to get in contact with moderation. We take that very seriously.
Absolutely. Dusty Sprinkles has a question here. Do you know why the ticket system is so bad at saving drafts? It's because OS Ticket is like, what is it, a couple decades old at this point?
Yes.
We want to replace it eventually.
We don't have announcements to go into today. But we don't have announcements to go into today, but we are at least considering alternatives. We're aware that we have very old tech and we'd like the tech to be newer. No names coming out, no dates, but yes, it is something we're aware of at the moment and would like to and hope to make better in the future.
Yep.
So one of the things kind of with the ticket system, if you take a long time to write up a ticket, you might want to go ahead and just save a copy of it, just in case it doesn't go through. Usually if you take more than 5 minutes to send a ticket, I think it's the token in the background ends up just expiring, and then it just has you have to start over. So definitely just make a copy real quick. At least that way you have it for your own records if you need it. And then like if for some reason it falls out and it doesn't go through, you can just slap it right back in there, and now you got it done in like 60 seconds.
Absolutely. Grand UK asks. Oh, sorry. Grand UK asks.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say too, just real quick, when you write a Resonite moderation ticket, if you do not get a validation through your email or on the website saying, hey, you have submitted this, we've received it, here's your number, it did not go through if you didn't get that message. So make sure you get that. If you don't see it, just send us another ticket. There's nothing wrong with sending the second one in case the first one didn't go through.
All right. And Grand UK asks, what if you disagree with session moderation because it's going beyond what the guidelines went for session moderation? Again, if you have rules above and beyond what we've established for the platform as a whole and you happen to disagree with that host, generally speaking, the glib response here is I encourage you to find a second session to join. But that is what we're aiming for from a policy perspective. Oh, that's a large response. We'll get to that in half a second. If a person's setting session guidelines, we want to empower hosts to be able to curate the space that they feel best inside of. And assuming that they're not, like, you can't set session guidelines that remove Resonite guidelines. You can't say this place is a slur-friendly zone. Feel free to come in and start saying horrible racial slurs all the time. No, you cannot remove guidelines. But assuming you're putting things on top, that's just extra things. While maintaining all of our guidelines, that's fine. We're generally always going to back the host in that regard. Please don't go into a session that you disagree with their session guidelines and try and subvert them. That is something that is certainly beginning to break harassment guidelines towards the host.
Definitely. Just another thing I would like to add to that. How can I put it? So usually we will back, the host for utilizing, their like session moderation tools. One thing that I really just want to make very clear, though, session moderation tools are not going to be used as a weapon for, let's say, intolerance or something like that. So in other words, you can't just even if you don't have it written up on a rule board, you can't use the session moderation tools for the sake of, let's say, kicking people out because you don't like the minority that they belong to or something like that. If we find evidence that people are doing that, we will be taking swift and harsh action.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do have a fairly lengthy follow-up here from Razzle Dazzle on Grand UK's statue question. We can make a hypothetical case here. Say you have two people consensually freezing one of them into a statue with no obvious statements of arousal. Someone witnesses this, recognizes it as a sexual kink, and submitting a report ignoring that this may have been in the context of a joke, even if secretly it was arousing in some form, but is more supposed to be public bonding without creeping anybody else. How would moderation handle this scenario? What context is needed? Generally, we're going to be looking for a lot of things you've highlighted in this scenario didn't happen. You know, any kind of vocal utterances, any kind of statements that might have been made, even in text beforehand or after that might relate to the incident. We're going to be looking for that sort of stuff to give us a strong lead in one direction or the other. But when we're completely absent, all context, and it's just a giant question mark, moderation typically leads on one of the oldest things we talk about here. We talk to people. We just try and speak to people. We're going to send out warnings or reminders, letting people know, hey, you can't do these sorts of activities in public. If we're not certain that that thing happened, we just want to make sure that they're clear on the guidelines so that behavior won't happen again if it is. Of course, if we have no additional context to go on, that's more or less where we're going to be limited, but we will keep an eye out and record that sort of thing. Should we get further reports in the future where that context arrives, we're obviously going to view the earlier incident with a greater degree of suspicion. We'll simply keep an eye on it in that regard, but while maintaining that line of communication and clarity.
Yeah.
Also, bear it back. 30 seconds.
Okay. I do believe that we are nearing the end of our time. We usually stop around 5 p.m. EST. And as I said earlier today, and it's unfortunate, but we did start really late, and we're probably going to be stopping around that time here. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start looking at the raid menu to see if there's any streamers streaming Resonite that would benefit from a raid from us. Let's see, where is Twitch? Okay, stream manager. Sorry, folks, give me one moment.
Razzle Dazzle says, thanks,
was
that helps, I
never
think.
gone.
Awesome.
All right, it does look like the only other person here streaming beyond Creator Jam who we've rated a bunch is Nuki Kun. So we're gonna be, we're gonna raid Nuki today, I think.
I have one additional question.
Yes.
From the Discord side of things, just before we wrap up, because I'd like to get all of those done. That way it's out of the way and I can say it was all done in the VOD, which I may have already said and need to retroactively make true. The last Discord question was thoughts on the investigation videos controversy with other platforms. We might need a follow-up or two on this just to get clarification, but their text in the post was several other platforms right now have controversy of people making videos where they gather evidence on users who behave inappropriately, such as racism or their inappropriate behavior with minors, and post these on YouTube when moderation doesn't respond, and are then banned from the platform itself for making the video. I'm sure you have takes on that. We kind of have a couple. If you have a bunch of video evidence of people clearly breaking the guidelines, please don't post it to YouTube. Just give it to us. We'll take action. That's the most concrete form of evidence you can provide, and I see no reason why we would not take action if there was someone running around clearly saying racist slurs and you have them on video. That's going to be something that we will immediately respond to. It's sort of the ideal and quickest case we could possibly have. But we also do have guidelines about broader call-outs inside of certainly Resonite controlled spaces. If one was going to Discord and making big call-out posts about another user, there we would potentially have problems with you. We don't want those. We want you to send those that sort of evidence into us so that we can take action rather than inciting harassment to deal with the problem inside of the broader community. Remember, we don't want to see harassment inside of the community, even if it's with a good reason. Please work with us in this regard, and we can help remove bad actors from the community and correct bad behavior inside of the community, rather than trying to get the old mob to go after them with pitchforks and torches.
Yep. Definitely. With all that being said, I think that was the last one, wasn't it?
Yes, that seemed to be the last one. If there were follow-up questions, of course, I always encourage you to bring them to Discord. We can tackle them next week so I don't trap us all here forever. But yes, please make use of that thread in the Resonite Discord. Please join the Resonite Discord if you've not previously. It's a great place for information.
Absolutely. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and start the rating process here. We're going to be rating Nuki today. They've got their in-between stream. Let's see here. Yep, there's the raid window. We're going to be raiding in about 10 seconds. So thank you all again for attending today's office hours. Apologies if some of the internet stuff was causing issues. Razzle Dazzle is now selling a combination pitchfork torch for your witch hunt needs, which is pretty cool.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the raid button. So we'll catch you guys next week. That's not where my hand is. Just assume I'm waving to you. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you all for coming. Until next time.
Have a good one, Beans. And stay safe out there.